Who are you? What's your role? And who do you work for?
Yeah, sure. Hi, I'm Jason. Jason Johl. I work for Intuit. I'm on the developer relations team.
Now, what are 3 Kubernetes emerging tools that you're keeping an eye on?
I think Argo is probably like number one. We have a big release. We're here at ArgoCon, so we have version 3.0 coming up. And Intuit is a huge kind of founder and maintainer of Argo. So we're always looking at what emerging patterns are happening within that community. We have some of the ephemeral access plugins that are interesting to us, as well as environment promotion between dev, staging, and production environments. So that's definitely one. Another would be probably Numaproj. So Numaproj is kind of an evolving event streaming and event-driven application platform. And so we're using it internally at Intuit around an anomaly scoring use case. So that's kind of interesting as well. And then I would say another one is probably more mature products, but like Helm and Customize are very widely used within the industry. But I think we're seeing some emerging patterns around how do we create more explainable ways to figure out if we change, let's say, a Helm chart, what is actually happening with the infrastructure, the underlying infrastructure of the cluster. So those are probably 3, I'd say.
Now, our podcast guest Isala expressed interest in using AIOps and eBPF to build tools that make SREs' lives easier. What are your thoughts on the potential of AI and advanced observability tools to improve DevOps practices?
Yeah, I think there are a lot of opportunities. I think one that comes to mind immediately is we're looking into some ways to incorporate LLMs into our observability tooling. So we're looking at incorporating open source tools like Kubernetes or KGPT to kind of look at auto identification and auto remediation of incidents. So let's say you have an alert that comes up and you want to understand, where is that alert coming from? What particular part of the cluster? And then once you identify that, how do I resolve the issue? So being able to send the log or the error to an LLM, collect the response, whether it's like default from the LLM or like augmented in some way with proprietary context, and then be able to return an auto remediation step that you can take to fix that alarm is one of the ways I think we can incorporate like AI into observability in kind of that way. So I'd say that's one. Another one is probably around, like I mentioned earlier, anomaly scoring. So we're using Numaproj, Numaflow specifically right now to, as we have a canary rollout progress through the stages, so different weights, if we can detect an anomaly score and kind of do that through an AI-assisted platform like Numaproj, we can actually roll back and kind of automate that recovery process using AI as well. So those are probably 2 ways, I'd say.
Another one of our guests, Colleen, said, I see Kubernetes as a platform, not just a container orchestration tool. What's your perspective on Kubernetes evolution beyond container orchestration?
Yeah, I think definitely platform. I mean, we're here at KubeCon, so there's a lot of different projects that have spun up around the Kubernetes ecosystem to give additional features and additional ways to kind of manage various resources and various primitives. I think we've done a lot of exploration around how do we create these sort of like paved roads and ability for engineers to build on top of Kubernetes without exactly needing to understand all the depth that a container orchestration platform provides. So I think there's ways to kind of build on top of it and build on top of it to make it more manageable and easier to consume.
Our guest William stated that developers shouldn't know about the technology we're running. They shouldn't know about Kubernetes or write YAML. What's your view on how much Kubernetes knowledge developers should have?
Yeah, I think probably not much. Like I was saying before, I think we have a lot of services at Intuit. We have over, I think, 345 Kubernetes clusters. So it's massive scale, and we can't expect every developer to know Kubernetes. I think we're seeing the shift more and more for developers to own specific pieces of business logic in their app code, but understanding the underlying infrastructure is a big challenge for them and something that we don't want them to spend a lot of time on. So I think there's, I think one thing we hope is how do we continue to abstract away different parts of Kubernetes infrastructure so that developers can focus on building the application logic, building the code that they're writing for their particular use case, rather than focusing on changing Kubernetes primitives and infrastructure changes, which is a big cause for a lot of incidents in a lot of companies where you might misconfigure, let's say, the number of replicas or some type of parameter on your YAML file, and then you get some incident because you're messing with the actual configuration files versus focusing more on the app code. So, yeah.
Kubernetes turned 10 years old last year. What should we expect in the next 10 years?
Kubernetes has kind of hit like a new level of maturity, I would say, where it's pretty widely adopted across the industry. And I think we're at the point now where we want to make it easier. So Kubernetes for everyone kind of thing of how do we make it more accessible? How do we build stuff on top of it? Like we were talking about earlier about the Kubernetes as a platform. How do we build other components and other tooling so that everyone can take advantage of it no matter what industry they're in?
What's next for you?
For me, well, we're here at the Intuit booth, so I'm doing a couple demos on some of the new plugins to Argo CD that our team is working on, like the ephemeral access plugin, as well as the GitOps promoter. So we'll be here, and then I'm probably just going to be learning. I think KubeCon is a great place to kind of come and see what the community is working on. I always discover new open source projects and new patterns people are experimenting with. So yeah, just wandering around.
How can people get in touch with you?
Through LinkedIn is probably best. So you can find me on LinkedIn or on the CNCF Slack channel as well.